Hey there you guys, it's me Wretched Horror Scum and welcome to the second installment of Brutal Buffet. Alright, we're gonna start this up with some fresh new blood. We have some low tune gore on the come up from Blood Nature, and they gave us their debut EP, Chopped Up at the Altar. Next up, we have a band you should probably hopefully already know. We have the 13-track album Ekbom by Benighted. Next up, we got some cosmic brutal death for this lyric video for this single, Devouring Heavenly Bodies, by Celestial Gorge off their upcoming EP. God damn it, this is the third band mention and we're already getting fucking teased. Next up from Chile, we have Wounds of Christ and their slam-gurgling single, Saints Are Centurions of the Aristotelian Christ. And the man's got a voice of an angel, what can I fucking say? Alright, let's dip our tiny toes into the fucking toxic waters of slam, because up next we have Parasitic Embodiment with their 11-track album Wrought in Eternity. And the overall tone of this fucking album, especially with the bass, is like icing on cake, or more like ice cream on cake. Next up, we have another 11-track album titled Reek, Putrefaction on Excruciating Lust by Vertiginous. And boy, the fast brutality delivered in this one got me feeling more spoiled than a child who rented out a whole fucking Chuck E. Cheese for themselves. Aw shit, up next we have the beloved Sulfuric Cautery with their new single Maggot off an upcoming split soon to be announced. And you know what, I'm basically showing more than half of this fucking song, so whenever this fucking split drops, I'm definitely getting copyrighted. Aw shit, here we got some technical brutality from Twitch of the Death Nerd with their new single, Languishing and Theurgical Obsolescence. And if you haven't checked those guys out yet, I definitely recommend them if you fucking like some good old fashioned technical death metal. Up next we have Respiratory Secretion with their groovy 4-track EP,
Post-Necromantic Sadomasochistic Satisfaction.
Thank you, because I have work tomorrow. Are you guys ready to hear the pronunciation of E and Brie? Because this is a proof to those vocal coaches out there that you can pronounce E in metal vocals. But this isn't metal vocals, this is braying and shit. This is a whole fucking different ballgame. That's probably why we fucking be braying. With that being said, here we have Infectious Waste with their 3-track demo, Sentenced to Decay. Next up, we got the Mastermind one-man slammer Definite Hive with his new EP Universal Inversion, containing 4 tracks of slammer brutality, and this is just my cocoa to my fucking hot chocolate right here. Next up, we're picking up the pace a little bit with this speedy release, Unforeseen Consequences by Restlessly. And boy, is the drummer really restlessly hitting that fucking snare drum. Poor snare drum. Next up, Limbless gave us Orgy of Disembowelment, and it's a demo so raw it's almost taking us back in a time capsule, so respect the vomit-induced vocals. Oh shit, up next we got a fucking nice 3-track slamming promo from Parasitic Infestation, giving us some stomping slams and some ugly ass fucking vocals. Up next, making a return to the channel once again, is fucking Defaced with their fucking brand new album Opium Angel. It is containing 18 tracks of gore blasting brutality, and it is just fucking raw filthiness everywhere. Shit, Defaced is my fucking Opium Angel. Up next, we got some torturous slam-induced brutal death from Uxor's side with their 4-track EP, Lust for Perpetual Torment. Next up, we got Iron Front with their 7-track death-defying album Hooked. Now, I seen someone saying something about these guys are stepping up their writing material, but Virologist has always been this shit. But yes, indeed, they have somehow become more brutal than their last promo. Next up, we have Virologist giving Drake fans migraines with this new track, Opprobrium Transmogrification. Next up, we have a raw-ass brutal single from Stabboom titled 10 Pounds of Body Bags, featuring Hugo Ojeda and Frog Mallet. So sadly, I did mention this release in my last Brutal Buffet video, but the video somehow got corrupted, so I ended up not including it in the video. So now here we have Colombian Death Machine's Vertiginous with their new album Gore Spear. Next up, we have a filthy, gross-ass 4-track EP from Behold the Slitted Carcass, titled Felching the Decapitated, and even though it's only 4 tracks, it's already giving us the nostalgic vibes of a classic slam album. Up next, we have another COMATOSE music release. From Indonesia, we got Perveration, and they gave us their 10-track high-speed album, Putrefaction of Infinite Apogee. Next up, we have Fluids with their 12-track album Reduced Capabilities, and to be honest, this sounds way too brutal to just be labeled as brutal death. It should be doubled up and labeled as Big Mac brutal death, because the brutality that this shit was giving me, it made me feel like I watched every slasher film just in the time frame of this fucking album. Sadly, there's some releases that I'm not mentioning that also have been released in the past couple of months because they're singles, but they also have upcoming albums that are literally in the near future. So by the time I upload that single or for this video and shit, bam, that fucking album will come out for the next video. Kind of like Gorgasm and shit. It's not that I don't like the singles, but you know, I'm just fucking waiting to get my hands on that fucking full release. That, and I just hate being teased by promising singles. The upside of that though is because unlike nowadays video games, at least Brutal Death always fucking delivers. So at least now you know your fucking pre-orders are always going to be worth it and in good hands. But on the other hand, here we have from the UK Chainsaw Castration, and they gave us this brutal progressive single Skin Prison, and sadly no info on any upcoming EPs or albums. But yeah, the only times I would just mention singles is if they have nothing coming up, or if it's gonna be way later on the fucking year, because you never know, it might come out next year. But that also being said, we also have another single coming up, Piss Leech, with their raw grinding single Windshield Lacerations. The beginning of this song kind of reminds me of my song Grandma's Kisses because of the song structure, but in this case it's a lot lower IQ, meaning it blows my song way out the fucking ball field. Holy fuck, we got some more Cosmic Brutal Death. Because up next we got the EP Cosmic Rebirth by Bunaduri, and oh my goodness, it's so fucking beautiful sounding, especially with that fucking shotgun snare. Shit, we got some fucking chainsaw sounding guitars going hard on this fucking raw ass release titled In Soaking Cerebral Torture. And it's by the band Puss Emulsion, and by the way, everyone in this band's name starts with a J. Next up, we got the brutal death grinding machine himself, Resurrected Divinity, giving us 2 new singles off of his release, The Devil's Iconography. Well shit, we finally got the fucking full length from Prolapse titled Explosion of Innards, and it's a must if you're fucking wanting some gore-induced brutal death. Next up, we got some blasting brutality with some mouse clicking snares. We got the 3-track EP Slabs of Beef by Mortifying Deformity. Next up, we got a sick fucking grinding single titled Beg for Life by Excruciating Euphoria. Oof, this next one got them fucking gurgles for days. From Germany, Asphyxiate gave us their slam grinding EP, Sewage Eclectic, and oof, just listen to how that second track starts up. What a fucking banger. Next up, we got some brutality ready to embody Oklahoma. We have members of Maramasa and Unrelenting Butchery forming up Scab Temple, and they gave us their single Corpse Endurance. We definitely are getting gruesome in this one, because in this next one, Gruesome End gave us their single Carnivorous Mauling featuring Intracranialectomy. And also, if you haven't heard of Intracranialectomy, they were also mentioned in my recent Slams of the Month video. My fucking goodness, it is just tech death heaven in this fucking video, isn't it? Next up, we have the 8-track album The Purging of Disgust by Intestinal Dissection. Next up, we got the brutal 2024 promo from Deleterious. This one's kind of an old one because it's been out for a while, but then again, it hasn't been officially recorded up until recently, so therefore it's not fucking old, okay? Here we got the single Virgin Killers by Veneral, and it sounds just about like every slasher's main theme song. Next up, we have a 9-track disgustingly brutal album titled Cradle of Brutality by Blast Agony. You guys, this is fucking brutal buffet. Everything here is as brutal as fucking brutal can be. With that being said, up next we got One Man Death Machine Moldavite with his 4-track demo. Alright, we're gonna get low and slow for a little bit of a second right here, because up next we have Double Cup with their single Never a Threat. Oof, this next one's giving us the OG Slam vibes, because up next, Corplexus is giving us their 5-track EP Kingdom of Butchery. Man, up next we have fucking Amputated. Fucking Amputated, man. And they gave us their compilation Gargling with Rancid Awful. If you guys were wanting some lo-fi slamming brutality, then the search is over, because this one makes you feel like you're lost in space and then you got abducted by aliens, and then as you're sitting on the little fucking table and shit ready to be fucking surgically fucked or some shit, the aliens just so happen to be blasting some brutal death in the other room, and that just so happens to be genitals disassembled with their EP Childhood Dismemberment. So is the childhood dismembered because they got their genitals disassembled, or... Next up, we got a nice, quick, heavy single titled Lithopedian by Fedor. Next up, we have a 2-track demo from Numinosity titled Burden of Impurity, and it's short, but it's brutal enough to leave an evil smirk on your face. Next up, Propitious Vegetation gave us this 6-track EP Moral Abomination. You guys, Mass Killings finally gave us a full length, and this one's titled The Co-Ed Murders. It is 9 tracks, and the production is heavy as the fucking album sounds. Next up, we got a 6-track EP titled A Back Alley Suite released by Carcass Rapist. Oh man, this next release be super fast as fuck, hitting the sweet spot. Intestinal Sodomy gave us their 2-track 2024 demo. Okay, so I guess the zombie apocalypse is fucking starting up and shit, because up next we have Parasitic Infection, and they gave us their single Swamp Grave featuring Brendan Dean and Mitch Glazer. Ooh, Spontaneous Combustion. Any of you guys seen that movie, Spontaneous Combustion? The voice of Chucky? Anyone? Well, the band Spontaneous Combustion gave us 6 intense tracks for their EP Call of the Cave. Hee boss. Up next we got the legendary Sufism with their new single and lyric video.
Meringis di negeri agraris.
And you see, you fucking thought. Next up we have Exterminated with Spear of Catastrophism. Remember when I mentioned the single? Well, now we got the whole fucking album, bitch. Up next we got some Delaware brutal death, because Splattered Spine gave us their 7-track EP Cauldron of Blood. And it's time for some more fucking slams, because Disrupting gave us their 10-track album Conceived to Obliteration. Do you want to play a game? No? Too tired? I fucking thought so. Well, how about 7 peaceful tracks of fast-paced slams to calm the nerves? Because here we got Saw with their full release Unleash Perpetual Torture. Alright, now we're gonna end it up with this last EP right here. It's a 5-track EP from Fleshgate titled Violent Nature, and it features Swensabog and Bonginator, and you know what that means? That means it's time for a smoke break. Alright you guys, that about concludes it for this installment of Brutal Buffet. I hope you guys enjoyed this list of releases to listen to, and until next time, I will see you in that time of the next.